Where and how do you notice God at work? Alan Wetzel agreed to share this morning, and I'm very grateful for each and every one of us can notice and does notice God at work. So Alan, thank you so much for sharing. And he was joking after 3 minutes turning the mics off. No, whatever time you take is fine.
The way things are going this morning, I don't know if I should be up here or not. Before I find out about this yesterday at 3 o'clock, I have to do faith sharing. I'm sitting up here and Sally Lauer comes up and says, "Hey, we need a fifth." I said, "I can't help you, the state store is closed." "No," she said, "dummy communion." I said, "Oh, okay." No, my faith sharing, what it's about, I do this project, maybe some of you have heard it, I dreamed it up myself, it's called the Rose Project. It actually happened by mistake. I was involved in the Kiwanis Club here in town for about 14 years, and then when the club folded, I got out of it. And they've been doing this, the Pennsylvania district, they raised money for their foundation selling a dozen roses. They do this in the fall. So one of my contacts, Roy Glick from the Sunbury Club, he stopped at the shop one day. He said, "Hey, you want to buy some roses for the district, for the foundation?" I said, "Sure, I'll take 2 dozen. I'd buy a dozen for my wife and a dozen for my mother." Well, Mom, she passed in 2007, so I just needed 1 dozen. So this went on for a couple years, and one day Roy comes by, and he said, I was pretty busy, so I want your regular. "Yep, give me my regular." Well, here he brings them back a couple weeks later. There's 2 dozen. I thought, what am I going to do with 2 dozen roses? So I said something to my wife about it. She said, "Well, maybe somebody from the church." So, okay. So I'm thinking, who can I give them to? So there's this place on High Street, when I walk over to my business in the morning, right about Cellmax, I always get these brainstorms. The one year I got, when we were trying to get Richard something for his 80th birthday, I thought of getting him this tractor. And that happened right there, so I thought, Right away I thought of the Beavers, Terry and Vivian, because they were really going through a tough time. So I got to work and I got things moving along, and I called Vivian about 10:30, 11 o'clock, and I said, "Oh, good, you're home." She said, "Where else do you think I'd be?" I said, "Well, I got something I think might brighten your day a little bit." "Well, boy, I can sure use it." So I said, "I'll be out." So I loaded them up in the truck and I went out, took this dozen roses there in a big box, so knocked at the door and she said, "What's this?" I said, "Well, they're for you, from me." And she opened them up. And she, you would have thought I was from Publishers Clearinghouse, giving them $5,000 a week for the rest of their life. I mean, she didn't know what to say. And their grandson was there going, "They're beautiful." I can still hear that. Well, then my wife said, "How'd you make out?" I said, "Well, I think this project's a keeper." So every year I would look for somebody, listen for somebody in the church here. Helen Hanna was one. Dick and Anna Mary Wetzel, I think Mabel Smith. Well, then this year, I expanded the project a little bit. The Selinsgrove Club, they were selling a dozen roses too, but what they would sell them for is for their youth projects. So the same guy came down, hit me up again. I said, "Sure, I'll take 2 dozen. I'll get rid of them." So I had to stop and think who I was going to get this year. Well, I knew the Weeders were having a hard time. So I called Mary Ann one day, and late in the afternoon, I said, "Mary Ann, I have something that might brighten your day up. When can I bring them by?" She said, "Well, I'm going to be going away." I said, "It won't take long." So I said, "I'll come up after work." So, okay. So I take this box of roses up there. The box is about probably 18 inches long. So I get out of the truck, and she's there at the door waiting. She said, "What's this? Did the church win the lottery?" "No," I said, "the church didn't win the lottery. They're for me." And she looked at me, and she could just see that this doesn't compute. Alan Wetzel, and this doesn't compute. There's something wrong here. So I said, "No, they're for you, they're for me." So she opened them up and she goes, "Roses?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "You can scrape the grease and the dirt and the rust off." And I said, there's some fresh shiny paint under there somewhere. It's hard to find sometimes, but it's there. So she was really grateful for them. So I had 2 more to get rid of. And I'm trying to think who else. Well, Jimmy Meese, we took him out to her on Friday night. Because Bob's the one that got me involved in the Kiwanis Club. I had 1 more dozen to get rid of, and I couldn't think who, and I was looking for somebody. So it finally hit me about Lucille Cope. So I called Lucille up, and I was up there for 2 hours. I mean, she's just so glad to hear from somebody from the church, and I had to go to the dentist office on Monday. So Jim was standing there waiting for me, so I knew it was a hit. But that's my project, that's my thing. And I think it'll probably expand a little more next year, because I had talked, Evelyn Bonowitz was looking for a magnifier to help her read, and I was telling her granddaughter about this, and she says, I do flower shows, and I'm going to give you a 5-gallon bucket full. I said, well, we'll deal with it.
Thank you for sharing, Alan. Isn't that heartwarming? Beautiful. What you do really matters. What you do matters. So think about where and how you notice God at work. And maybe through one of the coming weeks, you may be willing and ready to share. Thank you.